GA Recap Monday on Tuesday. I hope you guys are having a fantastic, magical, wonderful start to your week. I'm exhausted. As you guys have probably heard, it's GA Recap Monday on Tuesday. That shows you how well my week is going already, right? Right. Last week we talked about how my boss is out of town and on vacation and I'm kind of in charge of the store and blah, 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 blah. We're not going through that again. But on Monday, I had to do inventory for my store, and that is a task in and of itself, and preparing for that. I had to work yesterday morning, and I had to work last night. I got home at 3:30 this morning. I've never been so physically tired in my life. I worked yesterday morning from 9 to 1. I came home and slept from 2 to 5:30, and then I got up, turned around, went to work, and worked from 7 to 3:30. I'll say it once. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. I'm exhausted. And then I slept till about noon today, and I probably could still sleep and be just fine with that. Our 3-hour inventory took 7. The inventory team we had sucked. They were dirty. They were nasty. I hate talking bad about people, but when you give your own reason, like when you have legitimate reasons shower and bathe yourself and be smart, and that's all I ask. And these people lacked all of that. It was horrible. The manager from the other store that came in to help me and I were so frustrated. She was like broke out in hives. I was near tears. We were just exhausted. And I finally crawled into bed about 3:30 and actually fell asleep probably about 4:30. It was disastrous. And if I never have to do it again, I'll be just fine. But I'll of course have to do it again come, I think July. I think we do a summer inventory in July. And I pray that it goes a lot smoother than this one did because it was just horrendous. So, hence why I did not get GA Recap Monday done on Monday because I had to sleep and try to function. But I'm making it up for you guys and getting it up today. And I'm really excited because the 2 locations that they talked about on Aftershocks this week were places that I found really interesting. And they have a lot of interesting history with them, past and present, I guess. And so we're going to get right into it because, like I said, I'm exhausted and I'll probably just fall asleep rambling if I keep rambling. Okay. The first place that the guys revisited was the Shanghai tunnels in Portland, Oregon. And if you remember during this episode, they kind of blew the doors open on human trafficking, which is a huge problem there. And the tunnels have a lot of history with that as well. And since the guys have been there, they have actually been able to open up a part of the tunnels as a tourist. I mean, all it was a tourist location anyway, but as an education center for human trafficking. And they've been able to help current victims of human trafficking within by having this education center. And Zach interviewed Michael. He was a tour guide there, and he was the one who kind of advocated and got this whole human trafficking place started. And he has been helping a girl that they called Barbara. They gave her a different name because they wanted to protect her identity from her human trafficker. And she got on the show and told her heartbreaking story of what happened to her, how she was drugged and taken advantage of and basically put on the market, and how she escaped, and now she's kind of hiding her identity so that he doesn't find her. And because of the crew, they've kind of been able to come in and help have this center and advocate a really big growing problem, not only in Portland, but in the country. Human trafficking is huge across the nation, and it's growing, and it's really sad, and it's something that needs to be stopped, and I think having awareness in that helps. The girl also talked about how she believed that she was possessed or had an attachment to Nina. Nina was a girl who was shanghaied and killed in the tunnels, and has a lot of attachment with the tunnels. And once this girl became a tour guide within the tunnels, she developed this attachment. She was getting attacked and scratched. Michael's been attacked and scratched, and I think that she just kind of sits there and serves as a warning of things that can happen. And Barbara began to experience her attachment about 4 months before everything happened to her, and I think it was kind of serving as a warning of bad things to come. I think spirits have this uncanny ability to just be able to know what's going to happen to you and kind of place people and things in your life when they need to. And here she was trying to warn her, and so she developed kind of a protective attachment to her, and really only knew how to manifest that sometimes in a negative way. So she would scratch her and burn her, and maybe not to necessarily hurt her on purpose, but just to really get her attention, like, hey, you really need to listen to me. Until about 2 weeks before the interview, she had a medium kind of do a detachment, and she hasn't been experiencing as much activity, but up until then she had been. And so I think it was just an attachment that she had with this girl because of their similar background, both being victims of human trafficking, and Nina just simply wanting to protect her. So it was overall like a really emotional catch up. I mean, it was awesome that they've been able to open the doors for this education center, and it was really sad to hear of a current victim of human trafficking, but it just brings to light how important it is to seek awareness for that and to put a stop to it, and just to be a voice. And it goes along, you know, with domestic violence and things like that. I mean, human trafficking is often at the hands of men who are very controlling and abusive and malicious and mean, and it's the same sense in domestic violence, and you all know I'm a big advocate for that, and as a victim of that myself. And so I think that this is just as an important platform to stand up and use your voice to stop, because at the end of the day, innocent women are getting hurt for no reason whatsoever, and they're being taken advantage of, and that's just not okay. The second place that the guys caught up with was Jerome, Arizona, and the Jerome Grand Hotel. Now, Jerome is also known as Ghost City, where they believe there's more spirits than people. The hospital there alone saw about a death a day, so it totaled about 9,000 deaths in town. And this was the famous location where Zach Bagans almost died. If you remember, he was at the Jerome Grand Hotel, and Chris, who worked there, allowed Zach to lay under the elevator shaft that killed Claude Harvey in 1935. While he was working on it, the elevator shaft came down and cut his head off. Zach got under there with a camera, was looking through the viewfinder, and couldn't distance properly the distance between the elevator and the camera, and almost died. And Chris literally pulled Zach out behind, away from it with his ankles, and just was inches. I mean, even millimeters from death. It was absolutely insane. And to this day, Chris was living with a lot of guilt. He's like, I operated that elevator. I knew how to do it. I should have been standing there. If something would have been what bad would have happened, it would have been all on me. And Zach was like, don't live with the guilt. He's like, you saved my life. You didn't see Nick and Aaron trying to save me. He's like, you saved my life. And he's like, I don't want you to live with the guilt that that you would have been the guy who almost killed me, or did kill me. He's like, I want you to be the guy who almost, you saved my life. If it wasn't for you, I'd be dead, because nobody else was moving to do it. And it was just kind of touching, because everybody was getting really emotional about it. And it was an emotional thing. I mean, you think about how close he was. I mean, the camera could have gotten jammed, because there was just millimeters between that camera and the shaft, and he just couldn't see. He couldn't distance it properly, and so if it wasn't for Chris, Zach would have been dead. And that would have been horrific, because we would have, it would have been something that would have been all over the news, and Ghost Adventures fans all over the, world would have been devastated, and we wouldn't have, the show we have today. So, it was just really sad that, it would have been a really sad situation, but it was really awesome that Chris did step in and was like, whoa, 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 and pulled him out when he did. They also interviewed Lonnie, who had the craftsman's shop across from the hotel, and finally something good came out of an Aftershocks episode. You know how I always say nothing good comes out of these episodes? It's always possessions and scratches and near-death experiences and having heart attacks and strokes, and people are always dying, and it's always bad, 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 bad. Finally something good came out of this episode of Aftershocks. Lonnie owned a craftsman shop, a woodworking shop across from the hotel, and his business was he was doing horrible. He was having horrible business, and he was really on the verge of almost selling the entire thing and saying, I'm done, I can't do this anymore. And he was sitting there one day talking to a friend about how he was going to maybe sell it, and all of a sudden a toolbox fell off the shelf, and a piece of wood flew kind of between the doorway and the toolbox and landed in the middle. And he took that as a sign that maybe he should stay, that they didn't want him to leave. And sure enough, a few months later, a guy comes around, and he was a woodworker and a craftsman, and he had some skills that Lonnie didn't have that he felt he could bring to his business. And Lonnie has always been real skeptical about having people come in and help him, but he's like, you know what, maybe I feel really good about this, maybe we should. And ever since then, business has been amazing. It's just flourished and boomed, and he's just been doing wonderful. And I think, and he thinks, that the spirits have had a really big hand in that. They didn't want him to go. They felt safe with him there. They felt comfortable with him there, and they were going to do whatever they could to be able to keep him there. And that's what I said, a minute ago, about the spirits will put people and things in your life that are going to better you and make you more happy. And I fully believe in that. I think that's why you have guardian angels and people that you don't understand watching over you. And sometimes you just have all these experiences happen, and then good things come of those if you really take them to heart and really think about it. And I think Lonnie did, and it was just so nice and such a breath of fresh air to be able to realize that something good does come out of these experiences. If it wasn't for the spirits, and he would probably have sold his business and maybe been on a path that he may have not been so happy with, because he really loves what he does. And being able to get that sign from the spirits was just amazing. And I'm really glad that something good came out of an episode of Aftershocks, because like I said, we always hear the negative, we always hear bad things, and to see someone doing an interview and smiling and being happy and excited and ready to talk about how wonderful things are, it's just really, really awesome. And it shows that Zach and his crew just, sometimes bring a presence to a place and maybe kick up the spiritual energy a little bit, and then when they leave, it just opens the doorway for really, really good things to happen. And it's just really, really exciting to see. But that is all I have for GA Recap Monday. I will be back on Wednesday for GA QA What Should I Do Wednesday. Sorry it was late, guys. It happens, but the important thing is it will be up today. I promise. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy. I will see you tomorrow for GAQA What Should I Do Wednesday. So start getting your questions into me now if you haven't already. Much love and happiness, guys. Bye.